Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Steel Sanctuary podcast. I'm your host, Dave Rivero from SteelSanctuary.com, and this is my co-host, David Cora. Dave, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, brother?
We got some injury news this week. Grayland Arnold out for the season. He was having himself quite the training camp. There's some debate on whether or not he was slot corner one or slot corner two, but he was definitely having a good camp, and it's too bad that he actually got injured there.
Yeah, he was in the hunt for it right there. This week he was getting first team reps. So that sucks for him and sucks for the Steelers because you just never know what might have been.
It leaves him a little thin again at
It does.
slot corner with Beanie Bishop being basically the only guy again. I mean, there are other bodies there, but not like those two anyway.
I mean, I know he's not going to be at the beginning of the season, but at least you'll have Cam Sutton.
At some point, yeah.
I mean, that's the way I look at it, at least.
All right, what else we got? Dave, the Atlanta Falcons were very busy this week. They got the Steelers' week one opponents, I might add. They got Matthew Judon and Justin Simmons to the defense.
Bro, I'm like,
this is not good.
Like, yeah. As if that's what we needed them to just start stacking good players on their defense. Like, yeah, that's not, I thought the Steelers would win this game. Now I'm a little worried.
Yeah, this week one game is not going to be a pushover by any stretch. This is going to be there's going to be some very interesting. What else do we have here? It seemed like it was Steelers alumni week for the wide receiver position. All kinds of ex-Steelers making news. Juju Smith-Schuster got cut. I think we talked about that last week, right? We had a discussion about Juju. Martavis Bryant signed with the Commanders. My favorite player of all time.
Yes.
I'm not gonna do it. Chase Claypool got hurt. The Buffalo Bills. He got put on IR and then he got released. Seemed like he was doing all right in Buffalo for a little while there, but he's done now.
All of these guys are just. It's what, like I don't. Chase Claypool just. That's so sad because we know what his ceiling probably could have been.
Yeah.
And I mean, just after seeing what he did in the first season, what was 11 touchdowns in the first season, like for a rookie, that's really good. And
he's got the talent, dude. He's just
and to just, I'll never know what happened to that kid. I don't know if it went head. I'll never know. But with Claypool, it's pretty sad.
It seemed like it went to his head and he got carried away.
Martavis, obviously, it's the it's
the drugs.
The drugs. He couldn't stop smoking the weed, so.
Yeah.
And then
if he would have been drafted like in the last couple of years, he would have been fine. But now, back when he was drafted,
his level of play really faded in the time that he was off or playing Canadian League or whatever it was he was playing in. It's amazing how much his play faded, though.
He missed a couple of full seasons, though, right? Once you do that, that takes it out of you. You fall behind. Your body's not used to the contact. It's not.
It's tough, but I mean, self-inflicted wounds. I don't know what to tell him, really.
Yeah. He's got nobody to blame but himself.
And then Juju, it's just injuries, really.
Yeah. He it's too bad because he gave his best years to the Steelers when their quarterback situation was a mess, and he took a beating, like a literal beating. Some of the passes that we've talked about it. Ben Roethlisberger left him out to dry over the middle, and he got crushed.
I don't know. The knee's really bad.
The knees are bad, yeah. The knees are really bad.
That was from earlier in his career.
Yeah.
So, and on top of the other injuries. So I know some people are clamoring like you to bring him back, but I don't know. In a slot, okay, maybe, but that's really about it.
Yeah, he could be a big slot. I mean, whatever. Like I said on the last spot, I don't think he'd make a major difference in the team. I just think with this group, it couldn't hurt to bring him in and see what he's got. Because after we've talked about it a million times, and I want to get into the wide receiver room, so we'll save this for later. But it's not a great room right now.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know if you saw my interaction with Eli Rogers today, but he's another Steelers alumni wide receiver that was on Twitter today. He called himself, what did he say? One of the elite route runners of his generation.
Who said this?
Eli Rogers. And I was like, I just retweeted it and said, well, one thing he does not lack is confidence.
You know what? I did see this. I did see this, Eli Rogers. I just whatever, dude.
Elite runners of his generation, bro.
Look, if you
Holy
think
shit.
you're whatever elite route runner, good for you. Like, I don't.
Wow, that's a statement.
Hey, look, Chase Claypool said he was going to be top 3 wide receiver in the league.
What happens to these Steelers wide receivers? They start drinking the Pittsburgh water and they just
something.
lose their fucking minds.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. They get down to Latrobe and I don't know what the hell.
What's in that water down there for those in that wide receiver room?
Hose down there or something, or what the hell's going on?
Jesus, whatever it is, they should change it because it's not working out too well. I don't know. It was pretty. I thought it was pretty funny. I mean, listen, he was a pretty good route runner. Unless I don't want to kill him.
Yeah,
Elite's obviously a little rich, but
yeah.
And he did claim he had a really good season in the XFL this year, and he can't even get an invite to a camp, which I guess in theory is kind of strange because, you know, if you have a good season, a lot of receivers have been signed out of the XFL. He's a little small. He doesn't have a lot of speed. He does rely, I think, strictly on his route running pretty much. So I don't know. I just thought it was pretty funny. Yeah.
Some of these guys have some big egos.
And he did say, after I said that, he said, you have to have an ego to play in this league. And I get it. I guess you do. You have to be confident to play in this league. Let's pump the brakes a little bit there, buddy.
I guess from that standpoint, I get it. But I also live in reality. So there's that.
Yeah. Reality check there.
I'm just saying.
Excuse me. All right. So, since we're on the subject of wide receivers, let's talk about the Steelers wide receiver room. Because, Dave, I'm mildly concerned right now. Let's start let's just go briefly with the Ayuk situation as it stands right now. Schefter was on today and he said, you know, the 49ers up their offer again, and Ayuk again hasn't accepted it. And it's pretty much status quo. He claims there's still a trade in place or with the Steelers and maybe some other teams too. I mean,
bro, I've moved on from this.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I've moved on. I'm over this shit with Ayuk. I don't give a fuck anymore. I don't care. Like, the more I look at this, the more Steelers were just pawns in this, and
they're being used
by Ayuk or the 49ers or whatever. I don't give a shit no more about him, them, whatever. I've moved on. I'd rather focus on other players to target. Honestly, trade target or players to target if they're cut. The whole Ayuk thing, I've moved on from. People are still on Twitter driving themselves fucking bonkers over this shit, and I don't get it because, like, it was one player. I'm just not going to dwell on this. It's whatever. Would it really help them? Absolutely, but it is what it is. They were used to help him up the ante with the 49ers, and it sucks. But move on.
The bizarre thing is the 49ers keep upping their offers and he keeps turning it down. What is he waiting for? This whole thing is just weird.
It's got to be guaranteed money. I'm guessing guaranteed money.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. I said it on Wednesday and I stick by it. Omar's got to come out and say, here's the deadline. Here's our final offer. You have till midnight, whatever, tonight, tomorrow night. If you don't take it, we're out. We're moving on. Our offer's off the table. And we're gone. San Francisco make a decision. Don't keep playing this game.
I was thinking the same thing. It's like, why are you sitting back and letting them dictate things? I'd be like, bro, it's off the table. You've gotten this time, done.
But you know why I think they haven't pulled their offer off the table, which is what I want to get into. This wide receiver room is not good. It's not good. And they need Brandon Ayuk desperately because I mean, we talked about it. I don't know how you feel about it. We talked about it before the draft and then before, training camp and everything else. And we were very concerned about this wide receiver. They added Roman Wilson. They added Van Jefferson and Deuce, and Watkins and Fitzpatrick and all these guys. I don't feel any better about this wide receiver room. I don't know about you. I know, depending on who you talk to, I was listening to Alex Kozora today. He's down on Calvin Austin. He is not very impressed with Calvin Austin at all. He just said he had an okay camp, nothing great. He still's not doing anything different than he did last year. We haven't seen Roman Wilson at all because he's been injured. Van Jefferson's probably been a little better than we thought. at least in my mind, because I didn't have much hope for Van Jefferson.
Well, do you just want to go ahead and get into this?
Yeah.
Who we're
Well, let's just talk about the wide receiver room in general. Do you feel better, worse, the same as before training camp, before the draft?
I feel better with Van Jefferson, and that's really it.
Yeah.
I mean, CA3 looked good. Calvin Austin there looked good against the third stringers in the preseason. He looked good against them. Okay, great. But once you start facing the starters, he disappears. You don't hardly ever see him do anything. So for me personally, I got to see him do something against the first string before I start assuming anything. So I'm not surprised Alex Zora is down if he's not really doing anything when he's facing the ones. So no. Besides Jefferson, the rest of them. But Jefferson looked decent. He was getting open. He was making plays in the preseason game. He's had a good camp. The only other one I want to see is Roman Wilson, but he's injured, so I can't.
Yeah.
The rest of them might be gone.
I'm mildly intrigued by Scotty Miller.
Oh, shit. I did forget about Miller. Yeah. Scotty Miller, I mean, he's got
I think there's a world where he's the starting slot receiver week one. I really do. Yeah. I really do. He's had a pretty good camp. He's a veteran guy. He played with Arthur Smith in Atlanta, so Arthur knows him. Yeah, I think there's a world where we're looking at this is the starting receivers for the Steelers. Van Jefferson, George Pickens, and Scotty Miller.
Yeah.
I mean, oof. And that's saying Scotty Miller's an upgrade over like
on
Calvin
paper.
Austin.
On paper, it's not great. Very no doubt. And then you pray to God that Pickens doesn't get hurt.
Well, we talked about that last week, right? If George Pickens get hurt, it's over. It's over. Now, what play it out? What are we looking at? Roman Wilson, Van Jefferson, and Scotty Miller? If Pickens were to get hurt, or Calvin Austin and Van Jefferson, oof.
And that's why I got to go get somebody.
Yeah, they have to. That's why I'm surprised they haven't, walked away from this and tried to get some. Maybe they're trying to get somebody else behind the scenes and we're just not hearing about it. I mean, Devontae Adams has supposedly been rumors he could be available, maybe. CeeDee Lamb's in a contract dispute. Have you called Dallas at all to see if, they'll move him at all? They probably won't, but have you made the phone call? I don't know. Are you waiting for somebody to get cut?
They are. I think they are, to be honest with you. I think they're just going to wait to see who gets cut. I mean, New England already cut Juju, so I mean, like, they're just waiting for, for more cuts to come.
The question you have to ask yourself is: this mystery player that gets cut, is that going to be a better player than Van Jefferson is right now?
Right. Like normally, when most players cut, they get cut because they suck.
Yeah.
Or they're not. So, yeah. I mean, you're right.
I mean,
there will be some teams that they do look at the dollar value of what they're paying and what they're getting in return. So you might see some guys that might, but most of the time, no, it's not going to be.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard the names Robert Woods, guys like that. I mean,
I'm seeing Mechie get dropped.
Yeah, Mechie too.
Okay. I mean, does that really move the needle? I mean,
is that better than Van Jefferson? It's probably just a lateral move. It's the same.
Right.
It's not. Yeah, they've painted themselves in a corner here. They got an issue. All right, that's my take on this wide receiver room. I'm very concerned. I wanted to ask you one. Is there a world where Calvin Austin gets cut?
No.
I mean,
no.
I think there is a slight. When you look at this room, I think they need Des Fitzpatrick for special teams. I guess they're having trouble finding a gunner, and he might be their best one. So if you have to keep him and Scotty Miller outplays Calvin Austin, I don't know.
I don't see it.
Keep 6 receivers.
It's only his second season, technically.
Yeah.
But it is a Colbert guy, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
So and
we know how they feel about Colbert.
Well, that's what makes me think you could be onto something. I mean, it's technically not Khan and Weidel's guy. Yeah. So you might have some smoke there to that, because if he looks.
I just started thinking about it. if they don't make a trade for Ayuk, and or even if they do even worse. If they do, it's either him or Jefferson going because they don't need
You're
all
saying
these
if they
bodies.
trade for Ayuk?
What's that? If they trade for Ayuk, one of those
Oh
guys is
yeah,
gone.
I mean that moves them down the line. But I mean, personally, I'm thinking it would be Pickens, Ayuk, Van Jefferson, CA3. I think would be the fourth.
Now, Roman Wilson. Roman Wilson's making this team.
He'd be the fifth guy. Yeah, absolutely. But who after that? That's it, right? They're going to keep five. You think they keep 6 wide receivers?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. And if they
Watkins
have to keep,
looks horrendous on punt return.
yeah,
I don't think. I think
no, he's gone. Well, depending on how he plays in this game, if he makes, maybe he can make it up. But right now, he seems like on the outside looking in.
I think I've seen enough.
Yeah, well, me too. But you never know. You know how Tomlin is sometimes. And then if you, like I said, if you have to keep Des Fitzpatrick for special teams, then it becomes a numbers game. Maybe they don't need to keep Des Watkins. Maybe they could use Rush and Trice or somebody on the special teams. But it's definitely it's not. You can't say 100% Calvin Austin makes this team.
No,
I don't think.
I won't. I won't go 100%. No.
All right, we got a game Saturday night against the Buffalo Bills. I told Dave, let's pick 5 players each that we were interested in looking at, and we decided to expand it to 5 on the offense and 5 on defense. Dave, why don't you go first with your first pick? Let's start on offense.
Want to start on offense?
Yeah,
I think obvious one, Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that was my one too. Yeah.
Dude,
100%.
It's so important in so many ways. Like, think about this. If my man walks in there and marches that team down the field and scores a touchdown, that's going to be interesting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because then that shows that he was able to do it right off the bat compared to Fields wasn't able to do it at all.
Yep.
So that to me will be interesting to see how the offense operates with him under center. So that's the biggest, most important position on this team. So if he comes out there and he looks legit, but if he goes out there and lays an egg and the offense struggles really bad, it can still happen because yet this is a newer offense. But people are going to naturally compare what Justin Fields did with that first team offense compared to what Russell Wilson did with that first team offense. It's going to happen. So I'm interested to see what happens with him. I think that's the number one most important thing to be looking for, to be watching in this game.
I think there's a lot of ways where this could turn into a quarterback controversy. Like you said, Russell Wilson can struggle and people start talking about, talking up Justin Fields, or they both play well. And then you're like,
right,
who do we want out there? I mean, this is, in theory, this is 2 starting caliber quarterbacks that you have on the roster, which is very unusual. Usually you have a clear one and a clear backup. You have 2 theoretical starting quarterbacks on the team. So that can cause issues. I mean, we're all interested to see Russell Wilson play well, and hopefully he does. I mean, I'm just interested to see him at all. I don't know how many series he's going to get, but I would think 2 at least, 2 or 3.
Well, it's only 3 preseason games, so this is supposed to be the walkthrough.
Yeah, this is what it was last year, because this is the one you went to, right? When Kenny Pickett played well and they left Kenny Pickett out there for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the dress rehearsal game. So
he actually might get more than that.
Yeah, I think it's possible. I think it's definitely possible.
I want to say when I went to the game last season, Kenny was out there for a good quarter, I think.
Yeah, I think he played into the second quarter. I'm not 100% sure on that, but he played a while.
It was a while back, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't just a couple series. Like, he actually played a lot.
Yeah. I think that is the case. Since I had Russell Wilson number 1, I'll give you my number 2. It's Cordarrelle Patterson. I want to see this guy play.
How the fuck do you do that? Like, my number 2.
We've been doing this a long time, Dave. We've been doing this a couple of years now. I want to see him as a returner. Apparently, he hasn't done any return work in practice so far, so I don't know what the plan is with this.
Interesting.
And I'd like to see him a little bit on the run as a running back too. See how he does with that, because there's other guys on this roster that I think are pretty good at running back that I wouldn't mind seeing making this team. So yeah, Cordarrelle Patterson is a guy, and this is a guy I've wanted the Steelers to sign for 3 years running now, because I think he would have been a perfect fit. I think you use him in the passing game too. as a receiver. So
there's no doubt he's a nice Swiss Army knife, no doubt.
yeah, yeah,
And I want to see him in all of it. I would like to see it in this game. I want to see because remember we were wondering how he was going to be because, and we'll get to some other guys I want to watch too. But like, I'm curious to see if he's still that guy that can do that. If he can be the guy that can be a running back, can be a wide receiver, can do the return game.
yeah.
Like, I want to see if that guy can still do that. If he's still that quick, or if he's starting to lose a step a little bit because he is starting to get older now.
Yeah. All right, who's your number 3?
My number 3 was Van Jefferson, and I told you how basically I had 18 I want to watch, so I'll just join.
yeah.
It's basically Van Jefferson and CA3. I want to see Van Jefferson and Calvin Austin III a lot because we got to figure out, is Van Jefferson legit going to be the number 2? Because I don't think they're getting Aiyuk. I've moved on from it. So I want to see if Van Jefferson passes the eye test, whether he really looks like he could be a legit number 2 or just be an okay number 2. Good enough. We'll put it that way. And if that's the case, great. Or if Calvin Austin III does step up and rise up and, snags that wide receiver 2 position away from Van Jefferson. Because right now he's leading the pack. So we'll see if CA3 can do something. But I want to keep an eye on those two. If Calvin Austin, I just want to see him do good against the ones out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it would be nice. It would make us feel a whole lot better about the wide receiver situation if he could stop, really playing well with, like you said, with the ones. My number 3, Scotty Miller. I kind of alluded to this when we were talking about the wide receiver room. I'm on a Scotty Miller train right now.
Yeah.
He's a veteran guy. He's a savvy guy. I think he could help the offense coming out of the slot. He's not the fastest guy in the world, obviously. He's not, the biggest guy, but I think when you look at slot receivers, I think he's the best option by quite a bit. I mean, I think Calvin Austin's an outside receiver. That's what he played in college. He didn't play slot in college.
Correct.
He's an outside receiver that we're trying to pigeonhole into slot because he's smaller and this and that. Scotty Miller is a legit slot receiver. So I want to see how he does.
Again, he did beat up on the threes in the
preseason. Yeah. That's why I'd like to see him as a starter this week.
Right.
Or at least within the first, to see how he does. And we don't even know how much 3 wide receiver stuff we're going to see with Arthur Smith this year either. That's the other thing.
No, I mean, on personnel, 13 a lot. So you're right. Might not see it a lot at all, but we'll see. I don't know. You're right though. Scotty Miller's another guy to definitely want to get a look at. But all 3 of them are equally as important to get a look at to see who the number 2 is going to be, and like you said, the slot guy. So but definitely the wide receiver thing is definitely a thing to watch because right now there ain't nobody of significance looks like we're going to add.
All right, who's your number 4?
My number 4 was Jonathan Ward and combined with Daijun Edwards. I could have combined them with Cordell Patterson, but whatever. But look, Ward and Edwards looked really legit.
Yeah.
Like I was impressed. It was I don't want to say it was definitely shades of Jaylen Warren when we first got to see him. But it was close. I mean, Warren and Edwards both look really elusive and fast. And I mean that's kind of like the thing I watch for guys is to see whenever they turn up that next gear. I mean, they really got that take home speed, and they both look like they do. So I want to watch more of them and see what they can do, because I have a feeling one of them is going to end up being a weapon for us if we keep them, if they make the 53. If not, someone's going to snag them and reap the benefits. They really are. Yeah,
I kind of agree with that. I've been on the Daijun Edwards fan since they signed him as a free agent. I think, he had a good career at Georgia. He had a good senior season there. He looked good in that last preseason game. I think there's something there. I don't know if they can get either one of those guys on the practice squad if they decide not to keep them on the roster. Hopefully they can. But yeah, I'm interested to see those guys too. My number 4, which is I'm surprised isn't higher on your list, Zach Frazier.
It's next.
Yeah. Nate Herbig's hurt. He's probably not going to play in this game. So we're going to see a lot of Zach Frazier, probably the number 1 center. He played well as a backup, against the backups last week. let's see how he does against the ones. I guess he had a pretty good practice when did the live practice with the Bills this week. So let's see.
We're gonna call this God's plan.
Here we go.
All part of the plan.
There we go.
Look,
yeah,
he looked good. He's now Herbig's hurt. I mean, I don't, it's like fate.
Oh Lord,
I can't wait. I think he's going to do really well. Tomlin talked big about him too, about how well he said him, and then he said that all their new draft picks on the O line have been really good. So he was confident in Fotanu and McCormick as well. So, but in general, he cited Zach Frazier first, and how smart he is, and how much he picks up things so quickly. So, and I mean, he has ran people over when he gets out in space and is blocking. He is a Mack truck, man. So like I said, I've been watching this dude for 4 years. I know what he can do. So like,
all right. So your 5 was Zach Frazier.
Zach Frazier. Yep.
Yeah. I'm just going to throw Broderick Jones in this because I think he really needs to have a good game. He struggled a little bit last week at right tackle. I'm assuming he's going to start at right tackle and move to left at some point, or maybe they just keep him at right and give him a break after that.
He made the comment he can't focus on left tackle because he has to worry about right tackle with Fotanu.
I have a sick feeling in my stomach that they're really doing the Sean Davis thing to him and screwing up his career. I really believe that, Dave.
I couldn't agree more. I you know how I feel about this stuff. Like, they continue to play guys out of position, and there's nothing else you can say. They're now right now with Fotanu, if they're getting hurt, they got no choice.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're like, dude, why in the fuck do you just continue to take these guys that don't play these positions and you plug them there and you're just stubborn and won't let it go? But we'll see, man. I hope to see that he does look better this time because he did not look good there at all.
No, neither one of them did. Fotanu or him. Both of them struggled on the last preseason game. So it's definitely a concern. If they can't straighten this offensive line out, and you got week 1, you've got a struggling Broderick Jones at right tackle, you've got a struggling Dan Moore at left tackle. Holy shit, that's a recipe for disaster.
Yep.
So let's hope they both, we know what Dan Moore is, the ceiling is. He's not going to get much better. You hope Broderick Jones gets better. All right, let's flip over to the defense.
I had one more real quick.
Go ahead. Yeah, all right, go ahead.
I want to see John Rice Plumlee at wide receiver.
I would like to see that too. I would. Yeah.
I want to see.
Imagine if he's the dark horse guy that ends up being the.
I know that wouldn't happen, but like at the same time, you want to see it with your own eyes if he could actually look legit at wide receiver. I think that'd be really cool. But that's all. That's the last one.
That's a good call out, Dave. I kind of would like to see that later on in the game too. This kid's not making the team as a quarterback.
No.
So let's find out what he can do somewhere else. All right, flipping over to the defense. My number 1 guy on defense is Dean Lowry. He's finally healthy. I'm assuming he's going to play. We haven't seen anything from him so far. I know he's not going to be a starter, but he's critical for the depth of this team. If he's a good player, or at least a decent player,
right?
They're going to need that depth on the defensive line. So I'm kind of interested to see how Dean Lowry plays.
No, I couldn't agree more. I like to look at him. Really, any of those guys that are on that line, you're going to want to see, right?
Yeah.
But I don't disagree with that at all. My first one is Corey Trice Jr.
That's your boy.
I'm not sure, but is Jackson going to not play this game?
He hasn't practiced all week, so
right.
I would assume he's not going to play.
So just think about that. We are about to get Corey Trice probably starting at corner this tomorrow against their ones.
There's a good chance you could see Corey Trice a starter.
Holy shit. Like this is the kind of stuff that I'm like been waiting for a year to watch. So
it's a big moment for this kid.
It really is for him and the team. Can you imagine if he looks legit?
Yeah.
I guess I saw that was it him that locked up Kincaid the other day? Or maybe no, maybe that was Patrick Queen. I was watching something. They were saying that they said some good stuff about Corey Trice too, but he looked pretty good. But no, this is a big deal for the Steelers and for Corey Trice. Like if he looks legit out there, dude, now you're cooking with corners, really.
Let me take you on a little tangent on the corner situation. Aside from wide receiver, is this the room most likely to get another addition? I feel like they're one veteran short. You know, especially with whatchamacallit that got hurt. Graylin Arnold got hurt. So they're short at slot.
I mean,
you've got two really unknown guys as the backup corners.
Let's
be honest.
You're not trying to signal what I think you are, right? They're going to bring back Peterson?
No, well, that wouldn't shock me. I wouldn't suggest that, but that wouldn't shock me either. Would I feel a little better? No, not him. I need somebody else.
Yeah,
I almost talked myself into that for a second. I came back to my senses. Yeah, they need some kind of veteran guy, I think. We all love this Corey Trice story. We all love the Darius Rush story. But say Joey Porter Jr. gets hurt for 3 or 4 weeks. Do we really want to force those guys in there to be a starter for it? And then, God forbid, what happens if Beanie Bishop gets hurt? You might have to add 2 bodies to this.
Oh, dude, there's shit up the creek, bro.
Yeah,
that happens.
Yeah, it's thin. It's thin. We don't talk about the cornerback position enough and how thin it is.
It's something they might add to, but I don't think it'll be anything serious.
They're not going to go out. This is a position where somebody gets cut.
Yeah,
and they end up signing
definitely
just a veteran guy to have.
They snag him absolutely.
Yeah. All right. My second defensive player is. I lost my list now. Here we go. I had Corey Trice too. So number 3 would be Keron Johnson, bro. This guy, he's the talk of camp right now. He's playing fantastic. It's a real battle with my number 4 guy. Well, I'll talk about it if you don't bring him up. There's a real battle for that number 4 outside linebacker spot, which is going to be fun.
No, I had him at the end. Nick Herbig is who I want to watch with these edge rushers. Him and Leal.
Yeah. I was thinking Jeremiah Moon too, because Herbig's gonna.
Yep.
Yeah, Herbig's gonna make the team. I think between Moon and Keron Johnson, that's the battle for that.
Yeah.
That second backup linebacker spot.
For me, I want to see if Leal is really gonna like go all out with this edge rusher stuff and look really good. Like, is he gonna get better? That slow progression. You know what I'm saying? Like, of a guy now going all in at one spot. Like you and I have talked about, don't fuck these guys up, moving them to multiple positions. Now that he's all go at edge rusher, does he take off, right? Last game, had a sack, had a hurry, I believe. Like, looked really good. I think he had a tackle for a loss, too. Like, okay, so now do you dominate against the twos when you get in there this time? That'd be awesome to see.
Yeah.
But like you said, Jeremiah Moon had a sack. He looked good. Johnson's been looking great. Like, they can't keep everybody. So, like, yeah, you're right. Like, and Herbig too. Like, I really feel like Herbig could be a big thing for them as that third guy. Like, and that rotation, when you rotate, when you rotate Watt out and you rotate
Highsmith.
Highsmith, when you rotate them out and he comes in there, dude, and it seems like every time he's in there, he makes an impact. So I'm interested to see if he continues to do that or does it in this preseason game at least, because he didn't do it that much last game, right? I don't think in preseason, the first game he did not.
He didn't do much, no.
Yeah. Okay. So interested to see if this game he does. Remember last preseason he was. Remember?
Yeah, that's when we first noticed him. He went.
Yeah.
He had a great offseason.
So I'm definitely interested. That whole edge rusher competition for the number 2s and 3s. Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch for sure.
All right, we kind of lumped all of our defensive guys together. You got anybody that we haven't mentioned? I mean, Leal.
Cam Sutton.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Cam Sutton. That's a good call out. Is he still safety? Yeah, he played only safety last time.
I want to see him at safety again. I want to see some more of
Yeah.
it because I really think that's a sneaky good move. Because think about this: when he comes back in 8 games, right? If they want to go to that 3 safety look, I'd prefer him over KZ.
Yeah, I do too. 100%.
I'd rather be
100%.
Fitzpatrick and Sutton in that 3 safety look. I'm not KZ. I don't know what happened to him, but he's just not as good as he was when they first got him. I'm done. So that's something big to see if he still looks like he's really comfortable there at safety, and then they can utilize him when he comes back after this 8-game suspension.
I wrote when I did my 53-man roster prediction that Casey's job's there for the taking, but there's nobody else on the roster, maybe short of Sutton, and Sutton's not going to be here for 8 weeks. I mean, if they had a draft pick or Ryan Watts is probably going to make the team as the 5th safety.
You just took it right from me. I was about to say,
but he's not going to take Casey's spot. I don't think. I think they'll both make the team.
Well, here's my thing. He almost had a pick this last game.
Mm-hmm.
If he does something big this game too, I could see it. Because think about it, they cut KZ, they save money.
Yeah, that's true. That's a guy to keep an eye on, Ryan Watts.
You cut KZ, you save money just in case you need it for something else. Wink, wink. And so I could see it happening. And think about it. KZ's not a starter; he's a backup. So
yeah, true.
You hit on Ryan Watts, and you're going to have Cam Sutton come back after 8 games, anyways. Why keep him?
That's interesting. I mean, that's definitely possible, man. Definitely possible. You got anybody else on defense? I mean,
yes.
Obviously, go ahead.
Peyton Wilson.
Yeah, Peyton. I was just going to say, obviously, everyone wants to see Peyton Wilson.
I want to see more of that because he was awesome against the run in the first half, I think it was. But then we saw him struggle with coverage, and then he started missing some tackles. So I'm interested to see in his second game, taste it into the NFL, to see if he looks like, a quick study and doesn't make as many mistakes. And I want to see if he might actually be a weakness in coverage as an off-ball linebacker. I wouldn't mind blitz him too. I'd like to see him get some blitz.
He did that a lot in college.
Yeah,
that's one of his strengths. It's pass rush. So I wouldn't mind seeing that either.
See them have him blitz a little bit too. Let's see if he can make that a thing. If he's really naturally good at it, like I want to see that too. But yeah, I basically that's my list. We basically hit every one of them. I had more than 5. Sorry.
And we should throw Beanie Bishop in there. He needs to play well now. He's a man on an island. He's the only guy. So I'd feel a lot better about this if he played well against the ones in Buffalo. I don't know who the slot receiver for Buffalo is anymore off the top of my head.
Which one?
The slot receiver for Baltimore. If he ended up for Buffalo.
Gabriel?
Sorry, is it Gabriel? It might be. I know they had a lot of turnover over there. Let me take a quick look, see if I can find it.
Gabriel was the slot wide receiver last year because what's his name on their team? Now he might be the wide receiver too.
According to this, it's Shakir Khalil.
There's Khalil, there's Gabriel, and now
I don't think Gabriel's on the team anymore, bro.
What?
Yeah, they don't have him listed here.
Really?
Yep. I think he may be gone.
Huh.
They have Shakir, Curtis Samuel, and Keon Coleman as the starting receivers for Buffalo.
Boy, it really was a max exodus there at Buffalo, wasn't there?
This is according to our lads. Yeah, they had a lot of people leave the team. It's a different Bills team than we're used to.
But yeah.
They still have Josh Allen though. So that's really, and they're talking up this kid Coleman. So him against JPJ should be a fun matchup early on to see, because they're saying this kid Coleman's really the real deal for them. Didn't you like him coming out? You talked to Keon Coleman up a little bit, didn't you? Was that one of you guys?
I don't recall talking to Coleman.
It's a Florida State guy, right? Was it? I'm thinking it's somebody else. What's that?
Was it this year that they drafted or last year?
This year. I think it was somebody else I'm thinking of that you were talking about. Who was the big receiver that you liked?
Oh, I know who you're talking about now. I forget his
but
name
it's
though.
not. It's not Keon Coleman. No, it's somebody else. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Buffalo. They still have a potent offense, man. They still have Dalton Kincaid. They still got James Cook. They got good tight ends. It'll be a good test for the Steelers defense to see where we're at those first 3 or 4 series. Should be a good game. You like to see Russell Wilson drive them down the field and score.
Oh, absolutely.
People are raving about his deep ball still, so I wouldn't mind seeing a
He's still got
long one to George Pickens.
He's still got an arm, man,
Yeah, he still got that. It's just getting rid of the ball. That's the only problem with him.
and big hands.
That's what we hear.
Yeah.
I think that's it, Dave. You got anything else before we get out of here?
No, that's it, man.
Your boy Mason McCormick was playing center again this week, just to torque you off a little more. They can't help themselves. They cannot help themselves, dude.
Right.
This has been going on for years. We're just starting to really notice it now. This has been going on for a long time. It's annoying.
Yeah, it is.
Leave these guys where they fucking belong and stop screwing around.
Yep, they can't help themselves, man.
No, I don't think they can. I think Tomlin likes to tinker. He thinks, I don't know. All right, that's all I got. That's it. You don't have anything else, right? Before I get us out of here?
I'm good.
All right, you can follow me on X at SteelersSank16. Email the show at daver@SteelersSanctuary.com. Subscribe to the podcast, guys. That helps us out a lot. Dave, give me stuff. Let's get out of here.
Yep, you can find me on X at DMC3SSP. You can find me on TikTok at Steelers Sanctuary Podcast or at SteelSancPod.
All right, until next time, thanks for listening to the Steelers Sanctuary Podcast.